through Hex or through PulseChain or whatever it was, you've made a lot of money. You made like a few million, let's say $5 million. Instead of buying like 10 Lambos and actually getting to setting yourself up for having a wealthy, healthy, happy life, at least putting you on the right track where you don't need to worry about money, financially free, don't need to work. You can, work for whatever you want to do. What would you do? Like, just take me through the scenario of how would you set that up where you can live financially free on a few $1 million after making it through, crypto projects?
That's a great question. There's a game called the cash flow game.
Yes.
So yeah, absolutely. The Rich Dad Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki wrote that book, and he also created this game called the cash flow game. So the whole game, and I love that game. I played it when I was 16 years old, and I fell in love with it, and that's how also I got started into looking into building wealth. Like, how do I do this? Blah blah. That was the main book. That was my first book that I fully read, and I was so into it. But anyway, when you're making millions, and I have this with one client actually. His dad passed away and left him a lot of money, and he got left with a property in the coast here in Los Angeles, in an area called Pacific Palisades, which is very, very exclusive, incredibly expensive. You cannot get something lower than $3 million. It's next to Malibu, next to Santa Monica, prime location. He renovated the whole property with his dad's money when he was alive. He spent like $500,000 on the property. Incredible, beautiful thing. And what he focused on, and I'm not saying that he's wrong, I'm just saying what he did. What he focused on was on getting money and securing cash in the bank. So he cashed out when his dad passed away. He cashed out pensions and then life insurance policies and sold the property. And then suddenly he's got a few $1 million in the bank. Now his main concern is about, what about if the recession hits and there's an implosion in banks and now they're not going to give me my money? So he is in a mentality of, how do I secure all these millions of dollars into the bank, and how do I make sure that it doesn't go away? You see, so what that gives us is like, okay, fine. Now you feel a little more comfortable. And who wouldn't want to receive just, a few $1 million just to keep in the bank? But the mentality that you need to have when it comes to this is that having money in the bank is not just the best thing for your security, because if you're not, worried about paying your rent next month, then you're worried about the recession. And how is the bank going to secure your money? You're always worried, so it's a mental issue rather than a money issue. So in someone that has captured this, I would say that then they need to secure their money in assets that keep on producing cash flow. There's another book called The Richest Man in Babylon. And one of the best advices that The Richest Man in Babylon gives is to, save, your salaries and so forth, and then put that money into working. And then it gives examples of how then he loses that money by giving the money to a brick maker to buy gems, and the richest guy says, why are you giving the brick maker your money to buy gems? You should have gone to the jeweler, So it teaches us different principles that we need to apply into investing our money, and not being afraid of it, but doing it correctly. And those two structures, like the cash flow game and the theories or the principles of The Richest Man in Babylon, is what I would give as an advice to someone that has captured millions of dollars into from crypto. Buy yourself investments that are going to continue to appreciate in value, that are not as risky as crypto, because you don't want to put 100% of your assets into crypto. Some people might do it, and I know some people just don't care and they just go ahead and do that. But my personal opinion is, for example, real estate, it's always a beautiful thing that I love. Make sure that you know what you're doing with real estate, because you can also, F it up. and make sure it cash flows, make sure it's in an area that appreciates, and you're going to do great property management, all that kind of stuff. And then you have secured that, and one of the things on The Richest Man in Babylon says, have so much cash flow that no matter how much you spend, the cash flow coming in, it never ends. Yep. So it's about having money in the bank, but that money in the bank should only be for when opportunity arises, that you're ready to jump on it to create something. The thing about money is that you always have to be active about it. Unless you want to just have $2 million in the bank and you want to buy a house like the one I'm here right now in Joshua Tree, surrounded by mountains and desert, and I have a pool, jacuzzi sort of thing, and you just want to live out there your years for complete retirement, then I would say, yeah, fine. I don't need much. I spend here maybe $500 a week or whatever, and I'm good. Like, why else would I need more material things? But if you're in the game of, building wealth, then I would say follow those two principles, the cash flow game and The Richest Man in Babylon, and you're going to do great when you're able to capture those capital gains for Pulse and PulseX.
So with 5 million too, I mean, is that some of the strategies we talked about before? Is a trust the best way to do it? If you don't want to just retire, or you don't want to spend it all on a house, or just draw on it the rest of your life, what do you think would be some good ways to minimize the tax and also be able to get liquidity from it when you need it?
Well, those are very complicated questions, as you just asked. It's like, how do I have immediate liquidity to a capital gain, but how do I also not pay taxes on that, and how do I secure the asset? Those are things that you should definitely. Yeah, I don't think that there's a simple answer. I think it's just a combination of multiple things that go into that. It's some of it is going to go into a trust, some of it is going to go into real estate, some of it is going to go into the stock market, some of it is going to go into savings, some of it is going to go into retirement, some of it is going to go into. It's a combination of multiple things, because like I said from the beginning, what is your goal? Is your goal to just be out in retirement, or is your goal to really build your wealth? The S&P 500, if you wanted just to do that, it has a very tiny growth compared to anything else, but it's a steady growth, and it's been like that since the 1920s. So do you want to put that there? Like I said, it depends. It's all about differentiating between your appreciating assets and your cash flow assets. My personal belief is that crypto is not going to go up forever. We're going to experience all these different waves, and in the middle, we're going to need requirements. I mean, we're going to need liquidity. We're going to need to buy things. So I would say that $5 million would allow you to be in a position where you can make choices. But it depends on your personal investor profile.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think we all should be so lucky, right? We all should would want to have those type of options, and that's how you do it in the bear market too. This is not a fun time in crypto. This is not, people. There's not quite as many parties going on, and FOMO tweets and all these things. But hey, this is, to me, I tell people, this is how you learn. This is how you go back. You read books. You read Richest Man in Babylon. Fantastic book. One of my favorite quotes from that book is. One of my favorite quotes is, the two guys in the beginning of the book, they're sitting around talking, and he's like, why aren't we rich? Like, why do these kings have all these things? Why do these people, all these rich people have all this stuff? Why aren't we rich? And the other guy's like, well, I guess we just never wanted to. We just never wanted it. We never thought about it. And that was so meaningful to me. I was like, wow, that is so key. That is so key for so many people in their lives. Rich is not something, everyone, you ask somebody that you want to be rich. Oh yeah, of course I want to be rich, but they don't really need it. It's kind of a nice to have, kind of, oh, it'd be nice if I had, $5 million, whatever. But if you need it and like you really actively work towards it, and then you have an opportunity like, oh my God, crypto, highest appreciating class of assets ever, Hex, PulseChain, hopefully Hex is, best, superior product. We hope PulseChain and PulseX is going to do the same or even better. If you have these opportunities and you put the work in, you have a chance to be financially free.